Good morning everyone, it's Kelly from Silly Moon Quilting Co. Today we're going to show you how to line up and use our two heart rulers. So today we're going to go over Cupid 6-4 and 5-3 and how to line them up. Cupid 5-3 will do a heart within a 3-inch block and a 5-inch block, and Cupid 6-4 will do a heart within a 4-inch block and a 6-inch block. So we're going to start, of course, by putting sticky tape on our rulers, and I've already done that. But what you want to do with Cupid that's a little bit different from our other rulers is that you want to put sticky tape on both sides. Okay, that's really important because we're going to be flipping the ruler so that you can use both sides to get a nice completed heart without having to hold a great big template or ruler to create that heart. So the first thing we're going to do is I marked out a grid pattern on here. This is a 14-inch square, and I just marked it kind of in the center. It doesn't really matter. This is just for practice and to show you. I want to show you how to line this ruler up. So we're going to start with the inside part, or the part that looks like an ear on Cupid 5-3. So I've got my needle. I'm going to put my needle down here. I'm going to bring my thread up. And again, we've talked about, anyone that's taken my classes before, this is when your option to pull the thread up or not. If you're just doing a sample, then sometimes it's easier not to worry about that. We're going to pull it up for demonstration purposes and just tuck it off to the side. I'm going to do a quick couple locking stitches, just so that my stitches stay where they need to be. And I'm going to make sure that my needle is in the center of that grid, so where those two lines meet. I'm going to start, and you're going to see me moving this around a little bit. I wouldn't typically do it that way sewing, but I'm going to do it so that it's easier for you to see the marking lines. So if you look at Cupid 5-3, the main registration lines on here are the center here, okay, and the center line, and the center line here. Those are your straight up and down lines to keep it centered. In the middle here, you've got two lines going across the ruler. The center one on both cases is going to be where your needle is. So if I want to make sure that I am nice and square, I want to make sure that I'm lined up on this line here, on my marked line, and I want this line here on my marked line. And it's really important when you're using rulers like this to kind of be looking down at the ruler, because what that does is it means that you can then see a little bit more clearly where the lines actually are, and that will make sure that you line up nice and even. The other thing that's really important when you're using these is make sure that your fabric is taut, because it's very easy for it to move a little bit. And if it does move, you're going to end up with hearts that don't necessarily look like hearts, or you might have to do a little adjusting when you get to the center. So I'm nice and lined up there, and I'm nice and lined up there, and all you're going to do is hook that little foot in behind your ruler foot. That's going to keep you nice and give you your point. And then we're just going to do like with our other rulers. You've got your fingers here and here. You want a firm grip. You do not want to death grip this. Gentle pressure towards your ruler foot, and then you're just going to start your stitching just like you normally would. And when you reach the point where you need to move your hands, that's when you just adjust, and that's why it's really important to make sure you have a good amount of sticky tape on here, and that will come back and end on my center line there. Okay, so now I've completed half a heart. So to complete the other half of the heart, I'm going to flip my ruler. So I was this way. Now I'm going to flip my ruler this way, the opposite direction. So now the writing is upside down, but I'm going to hook it behind my foot, but I'm going to use the same registration lines. So if you see, I'm going to rotate this a little bit, and you can see that I'm lined up there, and that's why it's important to be kind of looking right down at it. I'm lined up there on my line. And I'm going to rotate here, and I'm lined up nicely on this line as well. So that's going to give me a nice even heart. And then I'm going to stitch back down around to the bottom, and that's going to line up then at the center. So now I've got in my center line there, I've got a nice little even point, about where you are. If you've moved a little bit and it doesn't line up, just take one extra stitch and that'll get you all nice and lined up again. So that's how you use the inside of 5-3. 6-4, the inside is exactly the same. So you're using the same registration marks, okay? If we want to do the outside curve, now we're going to use the same center line here, but the lines that we're going to use on this one are this little tiny line here on the bottom part of the foot, and that goes straight through and using this line here. So the center of these 3 lines, okay? So that's what we want to use on our seam. And if we've lined up everything nice and even and correct, we should be stitching back up, or pretty close back up to the same line that we were just on. Okay, so let's give it a try. And we are. And then you'll reach the point where you come up and over. And you want to stop there before you run over your finger. And you're going to stop in the center, and then you're going to flip the ruler and do the exact same thing on the other side, making sure your lines are all nice and squared up. And that's going to bring you back down around the other side. And remember, you can stop anytime, just relax your fingers. If you get to this point and you see that you're not quite lined up because you've moved, now's a good time to kind of adjust your ruler so you're kind of going back down the same line. Of course, this only really matters if you're doing, you could even stop there if you want instead of double stitching back down that line if you wanted to do that as well. But I'm going to carry on back down there, and you can see that's giving me 2 beautiful hearts within each other. So if you were to do the same thing with 6-4, we would end up with the 4-inch being in here and the 6-inch being on the outside to complete that. I want to show you one other thing about this. On these rulers, what we've done is we've enabled you to offset the heart a little bit. So say, for example, this is my block. I don't want my heart right in the center because I don't want it to be at the point there. I want my heart to be off by 1/4 inch. So by using the offset lines, remembering that this line here is where my needle goes, if I'm using this line here, that will allow me to be 1/4 inch off of this line, my heart. My center point will be 1/4 inch off. And if I use this line here, that allows me to be in 1/4 inch. So now my heart is going to not be, let's flip this the other way so the heart goes the right way. My heart is now going to be 1/4 inch away from those 2 lines. So my point is not going to be right in the center where this one is. It's going to be up here at 1/4 inch. Okay, so I'm going to line that up and I'll just show you what I mean by that. So I want to be off 1/4 inch and 1/4 inch there and 1/4 inch there. So you can see where I've ended up there. I'm now actually 1/4 inch off of where I was before. And then you just use the exact same 2 lines when you go to line up your heart. Okay? This takes a bit of practice, I'm not gonna lie, to get it all nice and lined up. Oops, and you don't move it like that. And then you come back down to your center and make sure that you're not pulling your fabric. Okay, so then right away you've got your next line there, and you can see that that gives you another nice little heart. Okay, so thanks so much for checking in on the heart video. Again, Cupid 6-4 is exactly the same. So that's how you use Cupid 6-4 and 5-3. That gives you 4 different heart sizes, from 3-inch block all the way up to a 6-inch block, and you can offset them using just the markings on the ruler. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. We would be happy to answer them, or you can email us or contact us through our website. That's also a great way to get a hold of us. If you would also not mind liking and subscribing, that helps us out a lot. Thanks so much and have a great day. Look forward to seeing you in other videos.